What is going on, everyone? Welcome to another Bucks on Deck podcast episode. Anthony Murphy with me, as always, Nola Jeffy. Nola, what's going on, man?
Just chilling. Another day in paradise.
Another day in paradise. So MLB draft, good, wrapped up, everything like that. That was quite the that could be quite the grind at times, keeping up with that, and then trying to go through everything and stuff like that. How was your draft experience this year?
I guess about as normal as usual. You know, we put together our little Excel sheet, big boards, our own personal ones. We just bring a group chat cursing. Well, I'm doing a lot of cursing all the time. Like, damn it, they took my guy. Bastards, they took my guy.
Did the Pirates end up taking anyone on your board?
I guess I think I said Griffin doesn't really count.
Yeah.
So, but I did have Josh Hartle, and Will Taylor on there, so I'll count
Yeah,
those.
I know you're kind of big. You're big on you mentioned Will Taylor several times in the group chat throughout the draft and leading up to the draft and stuff like that.
It just felt like a perfect buy low opportunity.
Yeah. And I kind of feel like that's kind of a theme to an extent with some of the picks on here. But 3 days of drafting over and done with. Pirates, of course, took Connor Griffin with the first pick, 9th overall. Made 20 picks after that. Much more evened out this time compared to the last couple drafts. They finished with 11 pitchers and 10 hitters.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah.
What's your overall thoughts of the draft in general, kind of thing?
Overall thoughts in general, I like what they did. I think they went and got some prep kids out of the way early, guys that they liked. Brought a lot more upside, youthful talent into the system. It'll be interesting to see kind of what happens hereafter. Griffin being as high profile as he is, I mean, he very well could get into games at Bradenton. I mean, he'd probably go sign, go do some instruct, some backfield work, and if they feel he's good to go, I mean, throw him into get his feet wet in Bradenton. I think Sanford and Renders. I can't imagine either of them. They're a little more raw, so I don't think they'll get into games. But yeah, then they obviously took some of their usual pitchers that you don't really know too much about. But I mean, you just watch a couple of clips of them and it's like, okay, yeah, that looks like one of their guys. Or you see like their summer ball stats and it makes sense.
Do you think, like you speaking about that, it's like, because I know Tamar Johnson, he played in the complex league and then he finished up in Bradenton and stuff like that. Do you think, and I'm sure there'll be some sort of backfield stuff going on. You mentioned like instructs and stuff like that. Do you think the fact that the complex league, that ends in like a week and a half, pretty much?
Yeah,
Do you think that could? It's like 25th, 26th or something like that. The season ends, I believe. Yeah. And of course, like a lot of people ask me like promotion plans and stuff like that, and I feel like this year is kind of like a sit back and watch year, just because it's a little bit different. Yeah. But like thinking about that, do you think there's any chance that because the complex league's probably over by the time these kids are signed and get down to Bradenton and stuff like that, do you think there's a chance we see less of like the draft picks debut this year than in previous years because of that? Or do you think that they'll have a way to get them incorporated and we'll probably see whatever usual amount is show up?
I mean, like I was just saying with like Griffin, he's the one I would question whether he might actually see time in Bradenton or not. I'm sure we'll see some guys. They did get quite a handful of older collegiate hitters. Well, they got a couple older guys and just collegiate hitters in general. that I could see them getting them into games, as well as some of the pitchers. Usually the guys that probably aren't necessarily going to be seen as starters in the future. They like to get them a little feet wet too. So, but you also got to consider that once FCL season ends, they're probably going to want to get Yordani up with how well he's played. Severino, maybe. Is Suero? Is he still? He didn't get hurt again, did he? I think Blanco.
No, he's been playing. He's played the last couple games on there.
I say
So
Richard Ramirez is probably a big iffy one if he'll get time or not with being only 18. Carlos Cairo, I mean, he could probably get a shot. But then you also got to consider, I mean, there should be a lot of promotions from Greensboro to Altoona, but then you got to backfill Greensboro. And who are they going to put in Greensboro from Bradenton? I mean, unless you're going to push a Javier Rivas, Valdez, or maybe they will just push some of these, collegiate hitters straight to Greensboro.
Yeah. I mean, that's a good chance because the hitters, they outside of the like the top prep kids, there's a lot of, like you said, the college kids. There's some older ones there, so maybe they could just kind of use them as fillers to kind of support the Greensboro roster the rest of the year and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm sure we'll see some on there. It'll be interesting to see how they work like Connor Griffin, because I mean there is the hit tool concerns kind of stuff, and I know you're not going to want to expose him and hang him out to dry, and just kind of just shove him straight into single A. But also it would be really nice to get his feet wet and stuff like that and get going in pro ball, so he can kind of hit things running next year.
Although usually, especially with the higher end prep kids, low A is not necessarily the issue.
Yeah.
With the condensing of the minors, that it's a little more on the level of what the higher end kids have kind of seen to an extent. Great. High A is when it gets a little testy, as we see with tomorrow.
Okay, so looking back at the draft, 3 days and all that, talked about this going into it. I figured what we could do is we'll go day 1, day 2, day 3, and each give a player that we liked out of each day. Yeah, math.
You can count.
So starting with day 1, I have Connor Griffin on there. I kind of feel like he's just, I mean, it's kind of the obvious answer there. I just feel like the Pirates needed a player like this in the system. The incredibly high upside, the very toolsy kid. It would be nice to see him in Bradenton, get some of that batted ball data and see that kind of stuff, and then just to get his feet wet so he can kind of play next year. Is that your same kind of thinking with that, or did you have another one of the players in mind?
Well, since you took the easy way out, I'm gonna say Wyatt Sanford, just because obviously he's such a defense right now is obviously his calling card, and he's more of a contact kid, but they talked about that. There's probably still some room to grow, add some good weight too. Bat speed. I think like they had said that he increased it a little bit, and I think we mentioned on the night of that that's actually an area where it feels as though the Pirates are seeing some progress in. It's more so the contact issues they're having with. So I think there's high school prep shortstop. There's a lot of upside potential there. So
Yeah, and that's something that I really wanted the Pirates to focus on in this draft. Not like shortstop specifically, but just getting some more athleticism and that kind of stuff into the and premium position potential kind of players, that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously Levi Sterling too. He'll be an interesting one to follow and stuff like that.
Yeah,
On it, I really loved what they did on day one.
yeah,
In general,
yeah.
I thought it was a good route.
Well, that's it. And I want to say, I was actually watching. I believe it was a Sanford batting session, and it looks like a swing that could use a little couple tweaks to get more into his legs and body, and there's power probably in there still if they can get to it.
Yeah, and some of that too, I'm sure will come with like professional player now. He could dedicate himself to the weight room, dedicate himself to the game in general and stuff like that. So maybe, he's 18. Maybe he'll grow into some added strength there just by getting older kind of thing. So yeah. All right, day two. Who do you got?
Day two. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with my boy Will Taylor. I'm happy with that one.
Yeah, I kind of think this is where you go.
Yeah, and that's kind of similar to some of the picks they made this draft in general. Picks they've made in the previous years that an injury probably dropped his stock a bit because I want to say he was I don't know if he was I don't think so top 10, but like at least like top 20 entering the year. Athletic kid. I mean, obviously the ACL injury in football took some of his speed, but I mean he's still fast kid capable of playing center. It's just the question is what potential future power there is, and I think I said in the comments that it almost feels like a more refined Siani at this point.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, he's someone that obviously I know you talked about a lot, but like there seems like there's a lot of potential there to get something, and then even so, like you said, he blew out his knee, lost some speed, but even still with that, like he projects to be able to stick in center field, and there's not many true center fielders in the system right now, especially like probably in general. I'd say there's not too many guys that you feel pretty confident could stick in a major league center field right now.
Well, yeah, in a major league center field.
Yeah,
because that's kind of thing is even especially last year. I mean, and even still this year, there's a bunch of very capable center fielders defensively. Mm-hmm. It's just which one's going to hit.
Yeah. Was it Charlene Polanco's like a guy that comes immediately fine with that? Like he's a pretty good defender. Like I've always liked him defensively. He just has the issue, the hit tool issues kind of thing.
Yeah, and then
hasn't shown any progress with that.
Yeah, and then the last year's Greensboro trio, where two have moved up so far. Jace Bowen and Siani over Hudson Head, and even Hudson Head. I mean, he can play center field. I mean, hell, Matt Gorski.
Yeah.
Matt Frazier. They can all play center field. It's just who's going to hit.
Yeah. And maybe Will Taylor would be the exception to that.
Or another guy that we'll probably get to a little later.
Yeah, probably. There's another guy I thought of too that we could bring up later. But for me, so I know the big guy for me, the guy that I was excited over was Matt Ager out of UC Santa Barbara. He's a guy I was really high on going into the draft. I wrote about him during some of the pre-draft stuff I did, but I didn't go with him. The guy that really stood out to me that I'm really, really interested in is Eddie Reinders. Raw power, really nice swing. I loved his swing, and you can tell with it too that there's some, you could see the potential to maybe get some added power in it from like the little bit that I've been able to see. So and just overall, just like that pick in general too. I love the commitment to the prep guys, to the kids at the premium position and the athletic and the kids with the upside stuff. So, yeah, I really like that pick on there. I know some other people I was reading and some of the other they're not as high on him, and maybe it's just he's a shortstop, but he's probably going to play like second or third and stuff like that. But I do see a lot of potential in the bat, and there's definitely some room for growth and projection and stuff like that. So he was a kid that I was really the more I read about him, the more excited I was, kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, all I really need to hear was that he was a Kent State commit. So
yeah,
that's
never mind. I want to change my answer.
That's clearly talent right there. Plus, he's also born on Halloween, which is my son's favorite holiday. So
you get you a reminder. Just wait till the auctions come out. You're gonna be hitting that auction. You're gonna be hitting that auction hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I guess before we go to day 3, shout out to Derek Bird, the Army guy, Pirates code, the military academy. But he seen some of the stuff they're saying, like, okay, well that seems kind of intriguing. I'm sure it's going to be some sort of, they'll save some money with the pick, I'm sure. But
again, kind of like, I mean, overall the whole draft, it seems, I think Deuce was a little more of a contact-oriented guy, but they didn't grab, I mean, Sanford to an extent too, but they grabbed other guys that they grabbed that were, contact over power right now. There was still future potential power in the bat. Yeah. Whereas, it's not some people where it's like, okay, he's purely a contact hitter going forward.
Exactly.
It seems like they got hitters that at least you could see future development,
which is good. I get the hesitation with some fans solely just based on the lack of developing that the Pirates have done to an extent with the hitters. But like at some point too, you would think that one of these kids would just, coaching be damned, they just kind of break through and just kind of, they're so talented on their own that like, well, I don't really need you to show me how to do it. I'm just going to go out and do it. And I guess maybe that's what they're kind of hoping for to an extent.
Yeah. Well, that's what I know. Corey mentioned it too, specifically about, I think, Deuce, where he kind of profiled somewhat similar to McAdoo, which, and a lot of these hitters, I would say, profile more closely with a McAdoo than they do with a Mitch Jebb. So
they plucked a kid in the late rounds out of a mid-major school, and it worked really good. And they went and plucked a bunch of players from mid-major schools and said, let's try this again.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if it works, it works.
Yeah, I was actually surprised you didn't go with Gavin Adams. I thought that's who you were going to roll with. You were excited about that one.
Yeah, I was. He seems like another. I mean, obviously, he's one of the. They announced the pick, and I started reading it. Like, I'd heard the name before, and I mentioned in the article too. Like, there are like random nights where I'm having like issues sleeping. I'll pull up YouTube and just watch like baseball videos and stuff like that. I had watched like 3 or 4 of his videos previously from like when he was in junior college. Like I pulled up his name and like it, on YouTube it shows that you've watched it and stuff like that. So I had watched a bunch of it, and then but the name just was going over my head, and I finally had a chance to watch some of it. And I remember, I'm like, okay, well, yeah, he was pretty good. Seemed like a very Pirates pick there. Some control issues, live arm, live fastball, and stuff like that. Get him in there. Let them do their thing and have them kind of take off, kind of thing. We'll be interested to see how they use them on there. I don't know how far into the Tommy John process he is. So
I think they said he had it I think they said he had it in March. So
Isn't it? When did Barco have his going into it? It was
May.
later than that, right? May.
Yeah, it was like
Okay.
May.
Okay. So I guess there's an outside. So he'll probably be safe. He probably starts like in the complex or something like that on like rehab and stuff like that, and then slowly probably to Bradenton or like a month or two into the season maybe.
After he strikes out 8 in 3 innings.
Yeah, he'll strike out. He'll have like an 80% strikeout rate in the complex, and people will go crazy and stuff like that. So.
Which I mean, and that's just another example of I guess buying low on a guy that had unfortunate injuries. So
yeah. If you know the arm talent's there, don't let the Tommy John's like Tommy John. It's part of the game now, so like you can't get too scared away from it like you used to on it. If he has a live arm and a good fastball, then take him. He'll be back. There's a chance it's even better when he gets back.
Possibly.
But I guess the true grind of the draft is day 3, because at that point it's really just scouts tossing names against the board, and it's kind of like, well, I kind of like this guy. Okay, well, let's take him. And based off how the Pirates draft went early, I don't think there was probably that much money available to them to maybe try to dig deep one last time. I think there's probably a guy or two here that you could make a case may get slightly over the 150,000 total. Not a huge amount, but maybe slightly over kind of thing. Who day 3? Who's your the guy that kind of stood out for you?
Well, I was kind of between 2.
Going to get 2. Day 3 is kind of a big mess anyway. So if you got 2, give us 2.
Throwing shit at the wall to see what sticks.
Exactly. I mean that's the theory on day 3. So we might as well use it too.
Well, I'll say I'm curious about this Ian Farrow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Struck out quite a bit, but he played at Florida Gulf Coast 2 years before transferring to Miami, and he hit. I mean, though he was like primarily DH. He didn't. I think I read he only played 2 games in the outfield and then DH the rest of the time, which I want to say I recall hearing that name previously. But then he went back to FGC for his senior year, where he just raked the entire time. Although I wasn't able to find specifically what happened, but he missed like a 3-week period to an injury, and he was playing the outfield the entire time until that injury, and then he just DH'd the rest of the season. So I'll be interested to see. I mean, the bat on top of, I guess, is he capable of the outfield, or maybe he ends up being their first base guy.
Yeah, and that's kind of like I hate calling like first base a need in the minors, because that's really like I'm okay with just like depth organizational guys kind of like playing first base, and then like when a hitter when your actual prospects shows that they can't actually field anywhere else, then you do that move. But first base could use some new blood in it, and then also obviously the outfield too. I think you mentioned it previously that there's a good chance that a lot of these lower level outfielders are nothing more than just first basemen anyways. So there's a good chance that they're going to need some more outfielders right now. So.
Yeah. And then I guess my number 2 is that's the more I read into this Joe Vygotsky, he's actually very interesting. Which he was a closer at JMU, James Madison, and it was kind of funny because I was looking him up, and there was one place where it was like, oh, tops out at 94, and there was like tops out at 95, tops out at 96, tops out at, I think I saw all the way up to like 97. One place said, And then Future Star Series said he's got his mid-90s fastball has swing and miss traits, but just wasn't missing bats. So maybe that's a case of, I think, like you've spoken about previously about with some of the drafted players where they weren't being told where the best spots for that pitch to effectively play. Mm-hmm. So maybe that would be a case. He gets in to the Pirate system and they're like, no, you need to throw it here. And he just starts blowing it past people. Kind of a weird, violent motion. So definitely strictly a reliever. And FSS also said, what was it? Yeah, they said he can move control and command are a little sketchy, but if he finds control and command, they think that he could actually move rather quickly up the ladder.
Yep. Another very Piratesy kind of pick. And bonus points because JMU's, I think it's like half hour, 40 minutes from me now. We're out where I moved. So bonus points for that one.
There you go.
He was very, very interesting and stuff like that. And especially when you like, I think you posted like the screenshot of the scouting report that very much feels like something that the Pirates can definitely teach into getting more whiffs with the fastball and stuff like that. So it'll be interesting to see. It'd be nice to see him being one of the guys who kind of gets slid into things and go and gets like his pro career underway and maybe gets a couple innings in towards the end of the season kind of thing. Just to get some like new pitch data from some of these kids. I'd love to see that happen.
And this I would like to see these supposedly great fastball swing and miss traits to be like, okay.
Yeah.
I see it now.
Yep, and I guess the good thing that comes with the complex league ending early is that if you want to do it, you have to push them to Bradenton, which in turn we get StatCast for. So we're guaranteed to get some pitch data on these kids now. So it's always a bonus for me, and especially too because like obviously he's not probably going to be a guy that we talk about in like a top 20, top 25, top 30 list or whatever that we end up doing. But like maybe some of the other ones that are like borderline, we get this additional info we could help us to kind of do like a more early evaluation with them kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's weird that you go the pitcher route and then like I have like all hitters here. It's weird.
Well, to be fair, we talked about it pre-show, and you were we matched up, so and I let you have it.
That's true. Yeah, you're such a gentleman. All right, so for my first guy, I have two that I'll go ahead and toss out there too, right there. First, Andrew Patrick, Future Star Series mentioned too, like in like the write up too, that he had like top 100 upside too, in the end. Had a really good sophomore year. Hit 20 home runs, 31 stolen bases. Overall, in 150 games at Wright State, he had 37 home runs and then 61 stolen bases. Strikeouts a little bit high of what you probably want to see from a college kid playing in like a mid-major thing. It's like 23% or so. Not a horrible thing, but still probably higher than you want. Was hurt last year. Or he missed time last year, and then it looks like the numbers kind of suffered to it. But
this year
seems like this year, yeah. But kind of seems like another like buy low candidate. Like he slipped because of the injury. People were worried about the injury. Pirates, I'm sure, took a look at the medicals and they felt comfortable with it. It's like, okay, well, we have a chance to grab a guy who, when healthy, is probably a lot higher on the board. Go ahead and grab him now, and he really just needed some extra time off to get 100%, and then we have a steal on our hands, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, and then also too, he walked just over 13% of his plate appearances in his career too. So, pretty good walk rate there.
So
The other
basically,
guy, yeah, huh?
basically he's gonna sign in 30-30 season in Greensboro next year. Book it.
I mean, yeah, yeah.
I'm gonna say
40
just
home.
so if it for some reason it happens, we can come back and clip it and be like, look, I said it.
I'm just gonna say we're just gonna start throwing out like every random thing, and I'm gonna start saying the most random stuff, and then when like it just goes the other way, I'll just come back in here and like delete it off of the podcast. It's like, what are you talking
Never
about? That never
existed.
happened. Yeah, that never happened. The other guy I had Camden Jarrett, the catcher out of Illinois, was the 12th round pick. Future Star Series wrote one of the most impressive bat to ball artists in the country about him. So contact rate really well. He only struck out 4.1% of the time this season. In his career, in 120 total games, he walked 66 times and only struck out 47. So, and then he also hit 18 home runs. So probably not the biggest power guy. Gonna be more contact oriented, but he's a catcher, and you can live with that more with a catcher than you can any other position, really. Hence why we're seeing Garrett Forster play catcher, because the exact same thing. So I thought going into the draft that I would have liked to seen some additional catchers kind of get added. They took 2. Pirates generally take like a catcher every draft, and more time than not, he's just like a depth guy. You know, they took your boy Justin Mickness last year.
Can't say.
They take in like Wyatt Hendry and so. Possibility that's all that these guys end up being, but they did add 2 in this draft, and both of them do have some qualities that you kind of like to see headed into pro ball on there. So
And don't forget that they technically could sign another undrafted free agent.
they can. I saw Baseball America. It looks like there's been quite a few undrafted free agent signings already too. Was it BA has a tracker up? One team looked like they had like 3 or 4 already.
The Astros have 2.
2.
Oh, wait. No, the Angels are going crazy again. They love undrafted free agents.
How long till they're in the majors? Well, they have to. They have to sign a bunch of undrafted free agents because all their high draft picks go straight to the majors. So they need people to fill out the minor league rosters.
Yeah.
So, and I will throw out, it was one pitch that I saw, but I think we both were very okay with the pick after seeing that one pitch, and that was Brian Curley for the VCU kid too. Yeah, that was we're gonna love seeing the pitch data on that on the fastball when he starts playing. So.
Yeah. I'll also say, when it was kind of funny after the Andrew Patrick pick from Wright State, the very next pick they went with Jake Shirk from Wright State. He was the Friday night starter for Wright State, and I guess if you gloss over his just box score stats on Baseball Reference or whatever, it's not pretty. He got hit around a lot, didn't strike out a lot. I know his final game at Wright State he pitched against, I think it was Oakland University, had 11 Ks in 8 innings. But one of the reports I read, it said that he has a sinker that gets up to 95 and he has plus control. So another guy, I mean, if he's throwing mid 90s with plus control, it could be a case of they're just like, you've been throwing it here, throw it here instead.
Yep. And, what is it? I guess going back to the Wright State thing, Andrew Patrick, he was the guy who beat up TCU that the opening weekend or something like that we saw, right? Was that him? Or is that one of the other guys?
No, that was Ian Farrell.
Ian Farrell. Okay, yeah. So yeah, good to see beat up a pretty good. I wonder if your boy Tolley was one of them that he beat up on.
Maybe.
But yeah, overall, I think we're both. I think I could say we're both probably very satisfied with what the Pirates did overall in this draft. So looking at the bigger picture is one thing I want to bring in because we've both invested quite a bit of time in trying to look into the draft and everything like that. Was there another team out there that really stood out for you as having a pretty strong draft? And I know there was a lot of cursing of like divisional opponents on there for some of the picks they made. So I don't know if they made the cut for you here.
I mean, they weren't. I looked over quite a few, and they weren't my first one. But yeah, obviously, divisionally speaking, the Cincinnati Reds. I mean, their first 6 picks, they picked 6 top 100, 6 guys within the top 80. Picking some guys we personally wanted the Pirates to go after, like Luke Holman, Sirota. But I was between 2 that I probably liked even more. So since I couldn't nail it down to one, I'm gonna go with the day 3 tactic again. I actually really like the Angels draft. I think them going with the Christian Moore with their 1-8, the late balloon guy, really set them up for the rest of the way. Because I mean, Chris Cortez was electric for Texas A&M. They took the other A&M reliever, Ryan Prager. Ryan Johnson, I don't know if anybody's ever seen a video of him. The dude's
he's a fun one to watch. Just the delivery.
Yeah, high heat, crazy delivery, and just a crazy demeanor, big dude. The reliever Austin Gordon from Clemson, I was watching him during the regionals, and he was just a dude that came in and was shoving. I really liked him. But then even into day 3, they went and got that Trey Gregory Alford with their 11th pick, or not 11th pick, their 11th round pick. And he was the kid at the combine touching high 90s, I think, and he's the one that touched 100 on like his last pitch. They even got another prep, almost top 100, at least per pipeline, and Connor Gatewood, a 6'5", 208 kid that hits high 90s. So,
yeah,
I think they did a great job of kind of, in a sense, I think what people were hoping the Pirates would do with their whole like win now window roster. They hit it right off the bat with, theoretically quick moving players. Mm-hmm. Granted, most like 3 relievers, but then I also really liked the Marlins draft. Now, it's kind of an oxymoron because their hitting development has been kind of mediocre, but I like it in large part because they got so many of the hitters I wanted. Yeah, I mean, I wasn't particularly on PJ Morlando, but he was a big name prospect kid with big power. Then they went right back and got Carter Johnson, the shortstop, committed to Bama. I got it wrong last time. Yeah. Real high upside kid. The pitcher Aiden May at Oregon State. Peyton Green was someone I saw during the combine that was real interesting. At Georgia Tech, shortstop. Might not stick at shortstop, but capable. With some thump in his bat. The guy I know even you were a fan of, Jacob Jenkins Cowart out of ECU. Yep. They were talking that, he might be able to stay in center, but probably not, but liked that. Cody Schreier, UCLA shortstop, the double play partner, Deuce Gorson. Cam Clayton was another guy I was interested. He had a real down year in Washington. He was a draft eligible sophomore last year. I wanted them to grab. But he went back to Washington. He's actually in the transfer portal right now. So I guess we'll see what happens with that. There was Eric Radicek. He was a big bopper first baseman out of Niagara. I had been seeing some notes on him leading up to the draft. And then I'm going to probably not get this one right. Cone Nicolai, a prep catcher out of Alaska.
Nice.
With some power. in his bat and committed to Oregon. He great story, and he looked very interesting. So they kind of hit it, at least, especially with hitters, they kind of hit it from all sides. We'll just see if they can develop them.
Yeah, that'll be the big question there. I went. So there's like two mainly that I really liked, and one of them was really just it wasn't really the depth. It was just like the particular names that they got. Like I was really high on them, and one of them was one of my favorite pitchers there in the draft. But the first one I mentioned was Baltimore. I really like what Baltimore did early, and like I mentioned it a couple times on like the live show. Like we talk about the Pirates leaning into what they do well. Like the Orioles are like masters of leaning in what they do well. Like their first 4, 5, 6+ picks were just all hitters, and they take Vance Honeycutt, which very well could be like if he anywhere outside of the top 10 for him, if he clicks, that's like the steal of the draft. Anywhere that outside the top 10. And you kind of just feel like, okay, well, if there's any team that can get him to hit enough to make an impact in the majors, it's probably going to be Baltimore. Baltimore will probably be that team that can do it. So, and then they get, they get the 2 UVA guys back to back, Griffo O'Farrell and Ethan Anderson. And I know there's the collective groan from Pirates fans when you mention like the Griffo O'Farrell profile, but I liked it just because he's a steady shortstop. Like he maybe doesn't hit for power, but really good hit tool. He's a grinder. He can play short and stuff like that. So I thought that was good. And again, if there's someone who can get the most out of the profile, it's going to be the Orioles. Another guy too was I had written about him too. Ryan Stafford, the catcher out of Cal Poly, really good bat to ball skills. Not much power, but he's still going to make enough contact, and he plays a good enough defense that he should move pretty well up through the system. And then the last guy is your boy, who kind of you got us all hyped up on it, and Carson Dorsey out of Florida State on there, and you mentioned earlier about the cursing in the group chat. I could feel the anger through my phone whenever Dorsey got picked.
I think that was just 3 straight F-bombs.
Yeah. Nola was not happy when Dorsey got picked. So,
no.
But I just
he felt like the perfect Pirates pick. And maybe we should get some sort of agreement with the Orioles where they can we'll
develop pitchers, they'll develop hitters.
Yeah, we'll get some delegation going.
Yeah, that works. They can develop Griffo O'Farrell and send him to us.
Yeah. I'm surprised you also bring up this Chase Alt sup touching the Honda.
Yeah. Solid draft. They leaned into what they did well, and then they went and grabbed them some pitchers too, some interesting pitchers too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And the other team was just really their first 3. I loved their first 3 picks. The Atlanta Braves. The first 3 picks they made were all pitchers, all solid pitchers, all pitchers I liked. And then first round pick Cam Caminiti. I threw it out there on our draft preview show that if the Pirates really wanted to get crazy and lean into what they do well, like Cam Caminiti has the upside's pretty insane there, and the Pirates could probably do some good work with them. Well, I guess if there's another team who can do pretty well with his skill set, it's going to be the Atlanta Braves. So he goes to the Braves. That's going to be fun because the Braves single A team it's going to come to Fredericksburg. So I'm definitely going to ride out there to catch Caminiti when he pitches. Then they went Carter Holton with their next pick out of Vanderbilt. Good arm there, another lefty. And then their next pick was Luke Sinnard out of Indiana. High spin fastball. Like he was throwing a fastball with like a spin rate of like in the 2700s at the combine, which is insane for a fastball. That's like an elite curveball. So he was throwing that with the fastball. He was the guy that had Tommy John, but he's throwing again. He's throwing bullpens and stuff like that. So he looks like he should be right on pace to be able to start the season on time next year.
Mm-hmm.
So just 3 pitchers. Like I didn't even really have to look too deep past the who else they took. I mean, they might have taken some other
pitcher, catcher, pitcher.
That's that. Yeah. So, but like just their 3 picks are 3 guys that I was fairly high on, and they're going to a system where like I feel like they can develop them pretty well. So
they got one of the F-bombs too because they took the catcher Nick Montgomery.
Yeah. Yep. That was your guy. And I guess they're really fast. Minnesota too. I really like what Minnesota did because they like drafted like a whole new infield with Kellen Culpepper, DeBarge, and Billy Amick, and then they got a couple. And they got Dacian Hill, who I really like too, a lefty pitcher, and then so I like what they did too.
Yeah, I was kind of mid on the Nationals too.
I will say they got Luke Dickerson, and I really like Luke Dickerson. So I'll be excited to see him in Fredericksburg next year on there.
And then on top of taking Seaver King and Lamavita, but then they also took one arm I was in on, and another one that we've spoken about regularly, Meckley. But then they also took Eric Beeker out of Ball State. I was very intrigued by Beeker.
Yeah, Meckley. We picked up on Meckley because Coastal Carolina. They put a tweet out that said that he had a fastball that had like 26 inches of induced vertical break, and we were both just like, yeah, that can't be real. There's no way that's real. but
then we watched him. We're like, no, he's got some good ride on it, but not 26 probably.
Probably not 26. Or they got them funky baseballs at Coastal Carolina then. Yeah. So. Probably he's not going to be throwing 26 inches of IVB, but it definitely has some ride and carry on it. So, was an interesting guy that like we had both I think written down on our list to follow going into it. So, any final thoughts on the draft?
It's unfortunate that Jared Jones went back.
Yeah, I think once the 6th or 7th round hit, I was kind of just like, yeah, he's just going back to school.
Well, I'd have to look at it again because I know it sounded like it was known for a while, just it wasn't officially mentioned. It was one of those like it was known but kept hush hush because there was a Joe Doyle tweet when he had mentioned the 3rd season of the Bear. He had mentioned that he'd known for a while, I think.
LSU's loading up pretty good, just off of people who were kind of like backed out of it. They're getting Jared Jones back. What is it? William Schmidt's head in there. The
Curiel.
Oh yeah, him too. And then the catcher too. Like his name's like Cade Arambe or something like Yeah, I'm not even trying to pronounce it completely. But yeah, LSU should be fun to watch, especially they need the pitching because they lost their entire rotation.
Yeah.
And they lost Cam Johnson.
Oh, man, now I want to find it again. Yeah, we took Griffin, so.
Yeah.
Womp womp. I'm trying to think, what was it? Yeah, because then Braswell, he's going back. I know. I saw he mentioned that pre-draft.
But yeah, so that was fun. I had a blast doing it. I can't wait for next year. Probably going to start pulling up some 2025 stuff to maybe get some ideas in my head. So then maybe have a bigger list next year. Because I felt like I did pretty good for the first 2 days. And then you and Corey talking about like all these guys you still out on day 3, and I had nothing left pretty much. And the guys who I did have left, they were like obviously just going to college. They were prep kids that like at this point like okay, well they were just going to college then. So there's probably no shot.
Well, that's some of them still got picked late for me.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, who's it? Was it Miles Bailey? He got taken in the 20th round, right?
well, yeah, him.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I think Demarion Bob Terrell went the 19th. I think
Hmm. Yeah. So,
those are. Which on that topic, those are probably going to be hard signs because of their commitments. But
it's like
Hale-
I have to feel like it's like the Cam Johnson thing from last year, where the Cardinals took him in the 20th. Like we'll just
yeah,
go ahead and do it, and then like we'll throw some money at you if we have any left, kind of thing.
which and there's a couple of the guys I have probably could be undrafted free agent signs like Adam Tellier, Devin Burks, or Jacob Hinderleiter. I mean, would be probably pretty decent UDFA's. But on that topic of the Pirates' 20th selection, Taylor Penn, I feel he should sign. I feel like he'll sign.
West, like what did you say he was committed? Western Kentucky or something like that?
Yeah. That was one of the first things I looked up was where is he committed, and it said Western Kentucky, and I'm like, unless he might want to go pitch a year at Western Kentucky and enter the portal if he pitches well, but then that's a lot of risk. So
Yeah. I'm like obviously like it's like I'm not gonna pretend like I know like how things are shaping out. Like, even if they have to get, even if it's there, like even if you have to start going into like the overage amount or something like that, probably kick like worst case scenario next year, like bump it up to like 200K, get him signed and
yeah,
good if it's there for it. So and then if it's not, I mean it was the 20th round pick, like whatever.
yeah.
So, but yeah, okay. So that's the draft. Now, real quick, we want to get into some second half stuff in the minors. Just a couple things that like maybe just some players that we're watching, or maybe some like specific headlines or anything like that. Did you? I know you said you're gonna wing it mostly here. Did you want me to take the first one to give you a chance to or you got something ready to go?
Promotions.
I think that's just like the biggest thing, right? Like who's going to
Yeah.
get promoted? Like that report came out that Hunter Barco's heading to Altoona. So who else? Who else?
I mean, from Greensboro, I mean, I think Brannigan should follow. Cy Nielsen should follow. Even he's already surpassed his career high in innings pitched while he was with Vanderbilt, plus summer ball. But Patrick Riley should move up. Samillo.
Corey's going to 100% come after you for taking that long to bring him up.
I had saved the best for last, although was also going to say, I mean, Hudson Head probably deserves a run. Sean Ross. I mean, you also don't want to completely deplete the team, especially they're going to playoffs. But I mean, you could move Curtis up depending on where he's at with recovery. I don't know if they would want to move Chang up. He's 22. And I think he's already surpassed his career high in innings pitched in the season. But I mean, you still got Dotel, Ercolani. Parachi needs to go up.
Derek Diamond probably needs to go up.
Derek Diamond. They pretty much half the roster should go up.
Which is going to be interesting too, because like you said, they still need to keep a roster in Greensboro, and I don't think there's that many people in Bradenton right now that are ready or should be moved up. I mean, Omar Alfonso probably is one of them. Javi Rivas, you could probably make a case that just because of his age kind of thing, maybe move. Mm-hmm. And then like he's getting ready to get bombarded by other infielders with like the FCL season ending. And then if Connor Griffin does make it to Bradenton this year, Charrington said that he's starting out as a shortstop too. So it's probably one of those things to where it's like demotion by promotion kind of thing. Like Rivas just gets moved up just because. But yeah, I think promotions is probably the biggest thing to watch going into.
Which I was even gonna mention because obviously Greensboro is currently in the got the playoffs clinched. Altuna's only 3 games back of the Southwest Division right now. They're on a 9-1 in their last 10, so boost them up, baby. Those players can all
Patrick Riley, Hunter Barco in that already really good rotation.
get them some offense, and let's ride.
Yeah. But it'll be interesting, and like I guess it'd be interesting too, like just how many of the draft picks make their debut this year, especially because I'm sure roster spots are going to be very limited. There's going to be a lot of people who, because this is 21 people they're adding to the system, so there are going to be some cuts and stuff like that are going to get ready to happen and stuff like that. I think I can't remember the exact number, but I know Ethan tweeted what the domestic roster was at, and it sounded like there's like 6 or 7 open spots still right now. So that should take care of some of them.
Yeah, I feel like it should be like 8 or something. I don't know.
It could be. I can't remember the exact. I'm pretty sure it's still single digits, but it was like at the upper end of single digits.
Yeah, I was like, because Joe Perez was let go.
Yeah, Perez is gone, which I still need to replace him on the fantasy team.
I've kind of stopped. I figured at this point I was just going to let it run its course.
So on his tweet, this was 2 days ago, he has 9 open spots for 21.
Almost double digits.
So I don't know if that was before or after Joe Perez. So we could be at 10. So,
when did he tweet it?
2 days ago. So that was probably after.
On the 14th, because he was let go on the 14th.
Okay, this was Ethan tweeted at 10 o'clock on the 14th. So yeah, so that's probably factoring in Perez getting cut. So there's 9 spots left open. I don't want to do math right now. So that's what. Yeah. So there's still some people that's going to have to get let go.
That's math.
Yeah. I'm not doing math right now. It's late. One player there that I do want to kind of mention, and I guess after this, we can start trying to. But I'm interested to see how Braylon Bishop ends the season, because he's shown a lot of little stuff here and there, and we talk about center fielders and legitimate center fielders. Like he has the speed and stuff like that to play center field. Mm-hmm. You can see the tools. Like I want to see more consistent stretches of it. Like he'll hammer he'll hit like a double like down the line or in the gap and stuff like that, and like the guy can fly, and it's like you see it and it's like just give me more. I just want to see a little bit more, and then we're cooking with something here. So he's the guy I think that I'm kind of really watching heading into the second half and whatnot.
Mm-hmm. I think it's a good pick because it just makes me think about the potentially fire Greensboro outfield next year.
Yeah, Will Taylor, Braylon Bishop.
Which that's a player to watch. Like hopefully once we come back out of break, Lonnie White is healthy and.
Yeah, I guess he would be It's because we're like a lot of people were getting like. And I always tried to make a note like this would be his draft year. Like, so, like, now's the time because we just passed the draft that he would be in if he had gone to college.
Yeah. Bishop.
Yeah. So now's I guess that's good. You could kind of lump those two in together because even Bishop has dealt with like injury stuff too. Like now's the time to kind of start taking that step forward. And I'm okay if Lonnie's in a position to where he has to repeat Greensboro next year. Just because if you think about it, let's say you use like a 3rd or 4th round pick on Lonnie White this year. He's probably starting in Greensboro next year anyways.
Yeah.
So I'm okay with him having to start there again. But he better be in Altoona. He better be that guy that we're like banging the table like why is he not in Altoona? Pretty quickly into the season.
Yeah.
So
bless you.
Thank you. That's my thing. Did you have anything else or are you about ready to wrap it up?
No, I got nothing else.
You got nothing else? All right. Well,
No.
I guess that's gonna be it for us tonight. Nola, you got any Nola knowledge for us?
Nah.
No.
You know, the thing is, I'll think of something usually.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, oh, this would be a good one. This one would be funny, and then I forget.
You write it down, man. Take notes.
I need to
notes
start.
right here.
Yeah. I got a Cove soda.
Bucks on Deck podcast episode brought to you by.
I'm gonna tag Cove soda and be like, sponsor us.
Yeah, there you go. I've never heard of that, but cool. All right. So no knowledge. Where can they find you on social media? What you working on anything right now, project wise?
I got the makings of one article with regards to innings pitched, just where players are currently at versus career highs. So that'll be coming out probably shortly. Aside from that, just the usual. But at Nola Jeffy, NOLAJEFFY, which I guess that could be Nola Knowledge, which because I just saw something. Not even really Nola Knowledge, just that fixing an air duct in the attic when you're working in a space like this and you're a little right here hunched over. It's not fun.
No, it doesn't sound fun.
Mm.
It does not sound fun.
But I think I got some foil in the air vent and it blew to right there.
Nice.
Yeah.
You can follow me on Twitter at @double_Murphy88. Bucks on Deck Substack. Subscribe. We just hit 1 year on the website. Tonight we're recording, Tuesday night. 1 year at Bucks on Deck, and it's been a fun year. Got to do a lot of stuff that I'd really hoped to do. Circumstances, maybe how it came about, weren't ideal, but I mean, it happened. It happened for a reason. Here we are, having a blast. Site's doing good, and just having a blast.
I had thought about it, but then I forgot because that's just what happens. I also probably didn't really have time to. I was gonna get a smash cake for a first birthday.
Oh, that'd be cool. But yeah. So subscribe to the site. We've been doing like recaps and analysis and breakdowns of the draft picks. When you're listening to the day you're listening to this, I'll have something on day 3. I'm gonna have kind of like a overall breakdown or analysis, whatever you want to call it, write up on my thoughts of the draft in general. That'll come out probably Thursday. And then just a lot of stuff, fun stuff planned. So subscribe, and thanks for tuning in. And we'll catch you guys later.
Deuces. I have the best beard.